The ground on Oak Island has a rhythm to it. Seasons of resistance followed by moments of yielding, long stretches of difficult methodical work punctuated by the kind of find that reorients everything and sends the team back to the drawing board with more information and more questions than they started with. Anyone who has followed this search long enough recognizes the rhythm. You learn to read the signs of a season that is building towards something, the quality of attention that settles over the excavation when the evidence is converging, the particular energy that the fellowship carries when the work is producing material that the analysis is going to take seriously. This season has had that energy for weeks. And now the team has found what the energy was pointing toward. New evidence, recovered from a location and a depth that the island-wide geometric survey flagged as significant, and that the excavation has now confirmed as exactly that. Evidence that is being processed through the analytical pipeline with the urgency that its quality demands, and that is already producing results significant enough to change the direction of the search in real time. New evidence on Oak Island. Those three words carry a weight that only the history of this search can explain, because new evidence here does not mean what it means at an ordinary archaeological site. It means something that survived 7 centuries of deliberate concealment and the most extensively studied and most extensively defeated set of engineering defenses in the history of North American archaeology. It means something that the island was keeping and has now given up. And on Oak Island, what the island gives up is never small. 3 seasons ago, this channel covered a discovery that we said would change the search, and it did. Tonight we are saying it again and meaning it again. So whether you are a long-time member of this community, or you just found us tonight, drop a comment below and tell us where in the world you are watching from, because what is happening on Oak Island right now belongs to everyone following this story. And tonight this community gets to follow the evidence as it comes in real time, from a search that has reached the phase where the work is producing results faster than the existing framework can fully absorb them. New evidence does not arrive in isolation on Oak Island. It arrives in context, and the context that this season has built around the new find is the richest and most analytically developed context that any Oak Island discovery has ever had to land in. The team is not starting from scratch with this material. They are reading it against a background of accumulated knowledge that makes its significance legible in a way that earlier finds could not be, and what the reading is producing is something the search has been building toward for a very long time. The location where the new evidence was recovered matters as much as the evidence itself, and it is worth spending time on it before getting to what was actually found. The geometric survey work that Season 13 has been built around established an island-wide organizational axis running from the Swamp Pathway in the south to Nolan's Cross in the north, and the analytical work that followed the establishment of that axis identified a series of positions on the island that the geometric logic of the master plan suggests should be significant. Not every position in that series has been excavated. The resources available to the team, substantial as they are by any previous standard for Oak Island work, do not permit simultaneous investigation of every target that the geometric analysis flags. The team has been prioritizing, making decisions about which positions to investigate in which order based on the convergence of geometric significance with surface and subsurface survey data. The position where the new evidence was found ranked highly on both measures. The geometric analysis placed it at a significant node in the island-wide plan, a location where the master plan's logic suggested the original builders would have positioned something important. The ground-penetrating radar data from the surface survey showed subsurface anomalies consistent with deliberate construction rather than natural geology. And the historical research associated with the broader investigation of the site have flagged this area of the island as potentially significant based on documentary evidence from sources that the team has been working with across the current season. 3 independent lines of analysis pointing at the same location. When that happens on Oak Island, and it has happened enough times across the current excavation to constitute a pattern, the excavation that follows tends to produce results. It produced results here. What the team recovered from this location represents a category of evidence that the Oak Island excavation has encountered before, but never in the form and the condition and the context that this season's find presents. Organic material, preserved by the anaerobic conditions of the Oak Island soil in a state of integrity that the team's analysts describe as exceptional. Organic material recovered from the original construction layer, confirmed by stratigraphic analysis to be associated with the primary deposition rather than with any subsequent activity at the site. An organic material that, in its composition and its physical characteristics, carries information about the people who placed it there and the period in which they were working that the analytical process is now in the process of extracting. The radiocarbon dating is underway. The compositional analysis is underway. The contextual interpretation, the work of placing this material within the framework of everything else the site has produced and understanding what its presence at this specific location means for the overall picture of the Oak Island operation, is underway. What the preliminary examination has already established is enough to justify the urgency. The material is old. Old in the way that Oak Island material needs to be old to be relevant to the central question of when the primary construction occurred and who was responsible for it. Old in a way that the stratigraphic context confirms rather than contradicts. And old in a way that its physical condition, its state of preservation across whatever span of time has elapsed since it was placed in the ground, speaks to the specific conditions of the Oak Island subsoil in a manner consistent with material that has been there since the original construction. The team is not waiting for the full analysis to be complete before adjusting the excavation strategy. The preliminary results are already informing decisions about where to direct the next phase of the work, because new evidence of this quality and this location does not sit in isolation. It points outward, toward adjacent features, toward the next layer of the site plan, toward the questions that its own existence raises, and that the geometry of the island suggests can be addressed from specific directions. The significance of finding new evidence at this stage of the Season 13 work is not only about the evidence itself, it is about what finding it confirms regarding the methodology that produced it. The approach that the Lagina brothers and the fellowship have brought to this search, systematic, scientifically rigorous, organized around building genuine understanding of the site rather than racing toward extraction, has been validated repeatedly across the seasons of the current excavation. But validation that comes incrementally, through the accumulation of individually significant finds that collectively build a compelling picture, is different in character from the validation that comes when a specific analytical prediction is confirmed by a specific physical discovery. The geometric survey predicted that this location was significant. The subsurface imaging confirmed anomalies consistent with deliberate construction. The historical research flagged the area as warranting investigation. And the excavation found what the converging lines of analysis said should be there. That is a methodology working correctly. That is a search that has developed enough genuine understanding of its subject to direct its own efforts productively, to go to the right places and find what the analysis said would be there. The new evidence is the result of that methodology, as much as it is a discovery in its own right, and the methodology is going to keep producing results as long as it is applied to a site that continues to have more to give. Oak Island has more to give. The new evidence confirms it. The location of the find within the geometric framework of the island confirms it. And the preliminary analytical results confirm it in the most direct way possible, by producing material that is old enough and significant enough to demand the full attention of every analytical resource the team has access to. There is a quality of stillness that settles over the Oak Island site when something genuinely important has just come out of the ground. The work does not stop, the pumps keep running and the excavation equipment keeps moving and the documentation process continues with the thoroughness that serious archaeology demands. But the atmosphere changes. The conversations become quieter and more focused. The team moves with the deliberate care of people who understand that what they are handling has been in the ground longer than any living institution, and that the responsibility of handling it correctly sits entirely with them. That stillness was present when the new evidence came out of the ground at this location. The people present describe it in similar terms, a recognition that arrived before the full significance of the find had been analytically established. A sense of weight that the material carried simply by virtue of being what it appeared to be and being where it was found. After 230 years, this island has developed a way of communicating the importance of what it yields, not in words, but in the quality of the silence that follows a significant find. The team has learned to read that silence, the way experienced searchers learn to read every signal the island produces. And what the silence that followed this discovery was saying was clear enough that no one needed the analytical results to confirm it. Something important came out of the ground on Oak Island. The results are coming. The implications are already beginning to reshape the direction of the work. And the search that has been building toward this moment across 13 seasons of evidence and effort, and the particular kind of devotion that only this island inspires, is now positioned to follow the new evidence wherever it leads. It leads somewhere. On Oak Island, the evidence always leads somewhere. What comes next, you do not want to miss.